eats first, the kid, you, or Dana?
Dana eats first. DJ eats after that, and then I eat whenever I can. Yeah.
Yo, what up? Marco Brown here, and these are my thoughts back at you with an honest opinion, back at you with an unbiased review. Okay, so just gonna take a look at this encounter between a young lady and Jordin Sparks that, they're having an interview, and I guess part of the question she asked her was, when it comes to her family eating dinner or eating their food, who gets served first, and Jordin Sparks responds, her husband gets served first, son gets fed second, and she's fed last. And this raised a little bit of controversy, in the social space, and people were having a problem with this. And there's going to be mixed reviews, all over the place. There's going to be people saying, yeah, well, if the man's the provider and the protector, then why isn't he getting fed first? Some women will be saying, children should get fed first. I just want to jump in on this and say, I think personally you should just always do what works in your household, right? That's ultimately what's going to happen, and that's what ultimately is going to make sense, and that's what ultimately is going to essentially work, right? If it works for you and you like it, I love it, put it like that. But I just want to say, from my standpoint and where I'm sitting in my household, I have children, I have a wife, and my wife makes the food 99% of the times. And in our household, we tend to feed the kids first. And I think it's just a natural instinct for some, parents. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Everyone do as you want to please, but I just want to give my thoughts on it. And I would rather my children eat first, because I generally look at it as, even though as men we're out here to so-called provide and protect, women are also protecting as well, and they're providing as well from a nurturing standpoint. And obviously those women out there who earn an income is a similar format, but from a major standpoint, children generally are the more dependent. They're the dependents, so they're the ones that you're going to be looking out for the most, because they're the most vulnerable. So generally, when it's time to eat your food, your children are going to be hungry, and they're not going to be able to withstand their hunger like the way an adult can withstand his hunger or her hunger. So me, for example, I may not have breakfast because I generally sometimes don't like to eat too much food even throughout my day. I would eat probably once a day in terms of a major food, and then I'll just have like maybe a protein shake or something like that, because I do work out and stuff, and then I'd have probably fruits and stuff like that. But I don't eat too much throughout the day anyway, so hunger is not a major thing to me. And my other half, she's exactly the same. She doesn't eat as much, but our kids eat like tanks. And kids obviously will do, they're developing, they're going through the growth spurts, they're going through development, and even if they're in the teenage phase, they're going to consume a whole lot more food, because naturally they're developing, and that's just the way it is. So I don't really see, from an idealistic standpoint, why the need for adults to really eat first. Everyone's different, like I said, but for me, where I'm sitting, I don't really enforce this hierarchy that because I'm the man, I should eat first, or my plate should be served first. I mean, generally, like I say, I make sure the kids are fed. If the kids are fed, and the youngest ones, I feed them as well. I have no problems with my children eating before me, and I don't have an ego about it. It doesn't have to be some cultural thing about it. It's just what makes sense, and I always go by what makes logical sense in my house and in my views. And I don't have an ego about it. My kids need to eat, and it's dinner time. I get them their food, serve them up their food, let them eat. Boom, when they're done, then my food comes on the table at roughly the same time as my missus. We all sit down together and eat, and then we just chop up that, in that sort of format. But one thing I do want to say is, I commend Jordin Sparks for pursuing a format that works for her in our household, and I love the way I see Jordin Sparks nowadays. She looks extremely happy. and I've seen her in various social settings and different outlets on the social media front on the internet, and she looks very content and very happy. And that's where you want to be in life. It doesn't matter whose plate's getting served first. The question is, are you happy? And she does look happy. And I remember the years back when she was in a prior relationship, and I won't say the individual's name, and she just didn't look happy. She looked miserable. And when that breakup happened, you could see a lot of trauma was, existing within her. But then she looked within herself, and she's moved on to a much better situation. I don't know what the husband does, to be honest, but what I do know is when I see the pictures of them two, and I follow the story sometimes with what they do, and she looks happy. And as a woman and as a man and as a child, the most important thing to have is a strong nuclear family, and the family to have happiness, right? And there's always going to be ups and downs, but it's the most important thing is to have that strong foundation within the nuclear family. And she looks like she's got it. And once you get it, there's no turning back, and there's no desire to turn back. And I hope she goes on to, really progress and still maintain that happiness that I've seen in her life a lot nowadays. So, big props to her. And if she decides to follow that tree branch of a hierarchy where it's like the man gets fed first, it's the child and then herself, then I don't think we should have anything negative to say about it, because it works. And what you don't want to do is ruffle the feathers and try to disrupt the foundation of someone's household when there's no need to. It works. So just want to jump on and say that, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.